what we did last time around was that we did introduce ourselves to Python, right? And we did, yeah, very good. Replace typecasting, slicing of the data. Nice one. Very good. And Jupyter Notebook, yeah, obviously, yeah. And introduced ourselves to variables, right? And we did not go into the types of variables that we have in our system, but we certainly talked about what are the variables that we have, right? So that's good. That's good. I'm happy that you guys are able to recollect. So hopefully, I think you guys have the file that we already started off with. So we're going to start off with the same file. Okay. So the request from my side is go ahead and kickstart your Jupyter. Okay. And how do we do that? Let me get to my old file that we did last time around. Just sharing my screen. Awesome. So let me just quickly show you how you need to go back to the page. Okay. So all that I have done is click on Jupyter, clicked on it, and it launched me this particular page. Okay. So I've navigated to the place where I have stored my previous work. So this was the Tectonic session 1.pnb that we did last time around. So which was opened 7 days back. So I just clicked on it. And there we go. So we have the file, which was supposed to be done last time around. And for the file of it, I think I already sent the file for last time around immediately right after the class got over. I sent it across to Jatinder to send it across. So hopefully you guys got the file. Okay, so right after today also, once the session gets over, so I'll send across the file and you should be able to get that as well. Okay. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Okay, so any other questions? Do you want a PDF of it? PDF, you mean to say the launching part of it? I think we already did that, right? So along with the file and the PDF, I send it across to everyone over in the class, right? So you should have all those details with you. You want to recap the ones that we are, okay. So my notes are not opening. It's okay. So if your notes are not opening, just open a new file. We should be able to take the new file and do it. Okay. So if you want me to troubleshoot it, just send a snapshot of the file of whatever error that you are getting. I'll be able to troubleshoot that and send you. Okay. Very good. Okay. Sounds good. So I think we almost spoke about all these file details last time around. So I think we are good. Let me just go ahead and open the file for today. I already have loaded the file into my desktop. So let me pick up the one that I have. Okay, sounds good. Let's get started. Okay, so what we did last time around was very simple. So let me scroll up. So we introduced ourselves to why we need variables, right? So variables are going to help us to reuse something. So instead of using a value directly, we are going to be storing it into a bucket and we're going to reuse that bucket every single time, right? So instead of hard coding any values, we are going to be reusing those variables, right? And then we introduced ourselves to different types of data types. So the only thing that we talked about last time around was primarily on strings, right? So we did not talk much on tuples, lists, and dictionaries, which are Python data types, which are specific to Python. We spoke about integer, floating points, strings, right? So today we'll be talking about data type, Boolean, tuples, lists, and dictionaries. Okay, these are all important data structures that you need to be aware of when you're working with Python. Okay, so we saw a simple way of looking into strings. How are we going to work with strings, right? So if you want to pick a string and from till the end, you start off with 0 as the first counter and then you look into it, right? So if I'm going to have a string, say, if this is going to be my string and I'm going to say, hello students, welcome to day 3 and 4. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be my string. Okay. So now if I have to print the whole of the string, okay, all I'm going to do is print string. This is going to take and print all the whole string. But if I have to print only H, okay, so what I did was inside the print, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it within the square brackets, the placeholder of where that h is coming. So this is going to come in the 0th place. So I'm going to give it as 0th place, right? So similar to this, if I have to give it from, say, I have to print students. Okay, so then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is going to be my space. So I'm going to say start from 6 and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I'm going to say print from 6 till 13. Okay, am I getting it right? No. Why? Can you tell me why? We touched upon this. Is it supposed to be 6 to 13 or is it wrong? Length minus 1, very good. So what this endpoint means is not including that one. Okay, so this is going to be till 13. So till 13 means it will print only till 12 and it will not include 13. Okay, so if I have to print the 13th character, I need to give it till 14, only then the print will work. Okay, so this is what we did. And if I have to print the whole thing out, I'm gonna remove this and run it. Okay, so it will print the whole thing out starting from students. Okay, so we saw this one, and we saw also that if you want to print it from the backside, you need to use minus variables, and dot replace is going to be replacing one value of a string with the other value, right? So we saw all those stuff. Okay, we did the casting also. So by mistake, if I have stored a bucket as a variable, as a string, and in fact I realized later that it was supposed to be a number, then how do I do it? Like, say I have a variable which is going to be, say, 200. Okay, but if you give it within the quotes, what happens is that by default it will store it as a string, right? So how do I find it out? You see that this is stored as a string. So now if I have to change it, what do I need to do? I need to make it as an integer of that particular variable. But now this is not going to change it directly. It's going to give you the values here. So if I have to store it back into that place, then you need to say that make the variable as integer and store it into the variable, right? So now if I go and run this, you'll see that it has changed to integer. Okay, so I think we already did this. Very good. I think you guys have been able to pick up. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's do few more things on the strings and then jump on to the other ones. Okay, so now if I have to count the number of a particular string character inside the whole string. Okay, so now like say I need to find out how many yeses are there inside this whole string. Okay, so the same thing, I'm going to print. What am I going to print? I'm going to print within the brackets. Okay, so same str dot count. Okay, dot count is going to count the number of a particular one. Okay, so what are you going to count? I'm going to count the number of s's which are going to come. So did you see something? Python is case sensitive. So it treats the capital S and small s differently. So it says that there is only one small s within the whole sentence, right? So let's say if you want to count the number of L, we know that hello has two L's. So it should come, oh, there is one more L, hello and welcome L, right? So it says there are three L's. Okay, very good. So now if I want to, okay, I'm going to write the piece of code. You tell me what is this doing. Okay, string dot what is it trying to do? Oh, sorry. Name of the string is str. What is this trying to do? Exactly. So it is splitting the whole of the string whenever there is a space is coming. So that internally it's meaning that it is splitting the words, right? So wherever there is a space, it's splitting up and putting it into different objects into a list. Okay, so we'll soon see what is a list. Okay, so now if you have recollected it, if I do a list of a string, it's actually picking up each character and putting it into a separate list. Okay, but if you're going to use dot split, then it will, you can specify how you want to split it. Okay, so if you want to split it by whenever there is going to be a space coming or whenever there is going to be a comma coming, so you can all do that, right? So that is easy for you. Okay, so depending upon your business use case, you can do that. And another one is if you want to convert the whole of the thing into upper case. Okay, so you don't have to give anything inside. Okay, so just give it like this. You can see that the whole thing is changed into upper, and the whole thing can be converted into lower also. Okay, so and yeah, correct. So now the student is asking if we can swap the cases. Okay, yeah, you can do that. There's a swap case also, so you can swap it. So the capital became smaller and smaller became capital. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, from reverse you can do it. What if you want to split it from reverse? It's going to be the same thing, right? But just that you need to run it into a loop, right? So you need to start off with a counter from -1 and then split it. Okay, that's all. Okay, so length of the string, we already saw that. Okay, and good question. Okay, so one person is asking me that if I have empty spaces in the front and then there are empty spaces before and after. Okay, okay, so this is a string which is having empty spaces before and after. Okay, now if I have to strip those empty spaces, yeah, you can do that. So let me do the print first. Print str dot strip will, what it does is it will strip. Okay, print has to be always given within the brackets. Okay, so it will split, take off all the empty spaces and give you only this one. Okay, if you want to remove the empty spaces only on the left, which is nothing but ahead, you can run it like this. Okay, and if you want to right strip it, you can right strip it also. R strip will take care of that. Okay, so that will do that. Okay. Yep. And okay. Okay, so you want to join it. Okay, so let me try that. Okay, and I'll take that use case. Okay, so if I have to join by some value. Okay, so it's like, say for example, colon. If I have to join it, so then what I'm going to do is, okay, so what is this doing? Okay, so okay, again print, I am not putting it. Okay, so if you're used to a Python 2.7 version, you don't have to use those brackets for print, but after Python 3 version, you need to use brackets for all the prints. Okay, so what is this doing? So it is joining each one of the character by another character that you're specifying. So you're joining each of the string by this one. Okay, so okay, so one person wants to put a comma at a specified place. So if you want to put a specified place, then you need to specify the location and then put that particular one. Okay, okay. Next one, what we are going to do is you're going to do the searching in the script. Okay, so now to say for example, I have you having a college name. Let me see, college is equal to JAIN. Okay, city. Okay, so this is a string you have. Okay, you have a JAIN University. Now you can replace a particular word by another string. Like say for example, if I have to replace this JAIN University by another university, okay, we know that how to do that, right? Like say if you dot replace will take care of that, isn't it? So we saw that. Okay, but how can I replace only this JAIN by a different word. Or if I have to replace, say, Jane, N, and if I have to replace N by, say, S or something like that. Okay. So if I have to replace one character by another character, I don't want to replace the whole word. Okay. I want to replace only one character. Can we try to do it? How do you do that? Can someone tell me? Yes, you need to replace J by, say, M. Okay. Okay, someone is giving me an answer. Let's see if this works. So this is the college. So I want to change that. No, this will not work. I want to replace this. I want to print, instead of JAIN University, I have to print main university. How do I do it? You can change. Okay, so this is going to be one homework that you need to. Okay, so one person has given it. Let's see if. No, JAIN is not getting replaced. What's happening? What are you missing? Okay, let's see. One person has given it. No, what is here? No. You're going to test this. Okay, you're not going to give it like this directly. You can use split. Okay, you can use split. I don't have a problem. Okay, so some of you have told use this. Okay, that's all. Very simple. Okay, so you need to specify what you're going to replace by M, and it will change. Okay, so okay, I want to check if you guys have understood. Okay, so a lot of people are been able to understand, and I'm happy that you guys are thinking and trying to do whatever you have been taught. Okay, so that's good. Okay, now if I have a whole paragraph or something, okay, so now if I have to find out if there is a J in my string, okay, I have a big paragraph. Okay, so if I have to find if that particular string is there inside this or not, okay, so this can be useful if you're going to search for something. Okay, so what you can do is J in my college? Okay, to say true or not. Okay, or if I have to say if Jane is there in my college, true. Okay, or say if I put if Bits is in college, it will say false, right? So are you able to understand? So if you're able want to search something onto it, you can easily search like this. So say Jane inside the college, it will say true or it will not. Okay, so it's a very useful function that you can do. Yes, it's a Boolean. It will say true or false, right? So this is very useful. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna just write few codes. Okay. Or else I'll probably give you some kind of homework. Okay. So an exercise for you to do. So if you're able to do that, then we'll move on to the next one, which is list. Okay. Okay. So I have two lists. Okay. So there is something called as list called confusing. And there is another list called, okay, strings. Okay. So can you swap? What I want you to do is swap the first 3 characters of each string and join them by, say, for example, by an underscore. Okay. Swap the first 3 characters of each string X and Y. Okay. So what's going to happen is confusing is going to become what? str fusing, and string is going to become conings. Okay. And then you're going to join both of them. So it is going to become str fusing underscore conings. Okay. Can you make this? So you're going to swap those first 3 characters and then join the strings using underscore. This is going to be a homework. Okay. So try this. I'm putting it inside the chat as well. So this is going to be a homework. So try that and we'll, okay. Yeah. Okay. So now exactly. So if you have it in the, if you're going to put JAIN as small cases, it will fail false, isn't it? Because Python is case sensitive. So what you need to do, you need to create, I've not come to a list yet. So what will help is that you need to create a list of words in both upper cases and lower cases, or you need to convert the college into lowercase. So how do you convert the into lowercase? Convert all the values inside this. So college dot, what is this? Lower, right? So convert this into lower and just put it into college, right? So we saw this one, right? So where is that lower? Right? So call the lower function, convert it into this one. So then you do not have to worry about your cases. So you can run all the query consistently, right? So it is important that you convert them into one consistent format and then run it. Okay, that's good. Yep, I think one person has already given the answer, but I would want, okay, so this is the answer. So good job. Who was the name? I forgot the name. Sparsh Kaushik. Okay, so good one. Good job. Okay, so you can do it different ways. Okay, so yeah, Bhavesh, you are also correct. This is also correct. So you can do it one by one also. You do not have to write it in one line also. You can do it, replace this one by this, but this is the correct way to do it. So irrespective of whatever word I change here, this code will work. Okay, so effectively you're using the, not using the word directly, you're actually using the variable in your code, right? So what has he done here? So he's taken the first 3 characters of each X and Y, and he has replaced X by Y, and then he has replaced Y by X, and then he has added it and concatenated with an underscore. Okay, so that's what he has done. Okay, good job. Okay, perfect. So now let's move on to something called as lists. Okay, and students, just remind me at 12:30. I have an doctor appointment at 1 o'clock, so I need to wrap up today at 12:30. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to send across the questions. Okay, so I'll be happy to take them. But at 12:30, we'll try to wind up the session for today. Okay, so I need to rush to a hospital. Okay, sounds good. So what is this list? We'll talk about lists today. Okay, so lists along with dictionary are perhaps the most important data types in Python. Okay, a list will contain items which are separated by commas and enclosed within square brackets. You would have seen that, right? So a lot of times when we had outputs, we got it as a list by default. Okay, but this is a list. So list is nothing but it will give you outputs which are separated by commas and enclosed by square brackets. That is called as a list. So what is this big advantage about this list? Okay, the best advantage of this list is the list can contain data types of any data type, right? So in string data variable, you can contain only string. In integer, you can contain only integer. But just imagine a bucket where I can store both integer and string, right? So that is going to be a one-step advantages than having a data variable which can contain only one type of variable, right? Now say, for example, you want to store an address, right? So address is going to have both numbers and variables, right? No strings, right? So you would like to have something like a string, like a list where I can store both the address and both the variables of numerical nature and also with the character nature. So that's going to be a huge advantage. Yeah, I'll come to the differences between lists and dictionaries when we go to dictionaries. Okay. Okay. So lists, for people who are familiar with C programming, lists are actually similar to arrays in C language. Okay. So the plus sign that you're used to now is the list is actually a concatenation operator. We will be doing that. So basically it will try to add two lists. You can add one list and another list as well. And asterisk, like how it is used in string, is a repetition operator. Okay, so remember that. So in both in strings and list, it's the functionality of plus and the asterisk is going to be the same. Okay, so let's try to create a list. So how do I create a list? My list. Okay, so I'm just giving a name, my list, and you know that you need to create it within a square bracket. So if you define in a square bracket, and I'm going to just give an address. Okay, so 32 bar 34. Okay, it's a number 32.32 house number 32, and then what do I have to put within string? I can put Kaveri Street. Okay, and then Sarjapur Road, Bangalore. Okay, so 560035. Okay, so this is a list. If I run this, you can see that my list is created. So if I have to call this, you can see that list gives you within the brackets, square brackets, different values, and you can see that numbers do not need a single quotes, while the variables are given in the single quotes. Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I have another list. Okay, so small list or a tiny list. Okay, I say, for example, I have 23, comma, Whitefield. Okay, so I created a tiny list. Okay, now if I have to print the first element, which is nothing but the door number or something, right? So address. So if I have to print that, so same thing like how we do for string, but if you put 0, it is not the first character in strings, right? In the list, it is the first variable which is stored here. Okay, so you can get it, right? So if I have to put 1, you'll get the Kaveri Street. So 2, 3, 4. So now you can see the differences between a string and a list. String will do character by character. List will go one variable and next variable which is stored inside. Okay. So now if I have to print the address without the door number, all that I have to do is do this. Okay. Perfect. So now if I have to print the same thing 2 times, okay, so if I have to do it, print it 2 times, same thing into 2. Okay, it will print it 2 times. Okay, now if I have to add the my list and the tiny list together, okay, so you can do that as well. So I'm going to say my list. So my list plus tiny list. Okay, so you can see that both are added together or concatenated together and a bigger list is created. You can store this into another list also. Okay, and yes, you can do that. So if you want to find the list length, how many variables are stored inside, you can do the length of list. It will tell me 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 variables are created. Okay. How to get list without the Sarjapur road? You can do that. How do you do that? How do you do that? That's a good question. Yes, append is plus is used as an append function, concatenation function, and dot append does not work in list. Okay, so you cannot use that. Okay, exactly. So Vivek has given you the answer. Okay. Okay, so now let me try to tell you something. Okay. Okay, so you can use dot append, but yeah, list also uses append. Append can you want to, okay, you want to insert something in between. Okay, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So I have this list, which is called as this big list. Okay, and then I'm going to create this as a new list. Okay, so I'm going to run this and I'm going to say new list. Okay, so this is the new list I have. Okay, so now I want to add the pin code in the end of it. Okay, so if I have to add in the end of it, I need to append it, right? So new list dot append, and what you need to add. Okay, you want to add the number, right? So you want to say 5600. I don't know the pin code of field, so I'm going to just run it. Okay, so this one will add it. Okay, so now if I run the new list, you can see that the pin code is added in the end. Okay, sounds good. But just imagine that I have forgotten the street name here. Okay, so I have to write Borewell Road here. Okay, in before Whitefield. So how do I add Borewell Road before Whitefield? Okay, insert is the function. Yep. So new list dot insert. But insert, you need to mention where I need to add it. Okay, so if I have to add, if I put 0, then it will put here. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place I need to add, right? So I'll say 6, comma, and then I'll say Borewell Road. Okay, so it is gonna add it here. So let me see if it's added correctly. So it's correctly added. So in the 6th place, it's added the Borewell Road, Whitefield, and the pin code is added. Okay, let me check if there is any question. Very good. So far, so good. Okay, so now, okay, so there's one question. If I have to add multiple values, okay, so you can do that. So append will add only one value. Okay, so there is another one called as extend. Okay, so if you're going to do this, you can add value 1, value 2, like this. Okay, so if you restore extend should work. Oh, okay. I think I need to give it within a list, then it will work. So now it should work. Yeah. Okay. So when you use an extend function, try to give it within a list, so it will add. Okay. So you can add a list to another list. Okay. So this is good. Okay. Wait, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. I'm trying to come to the dropping. Okay. So if I have to remove this value 1, okay. So how do I do that? So you want to say new list dot remove, and I have to remove the value 1. Okay, so you can remove this. Okay, you remove that. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, any questions, guys? Arrange in list, I'll come to that. Let's do it. Yeah, removes the, okay, and yeah, you can do that. We can add a function. You need to give it within a list. That's all. Okay, if you want to give remove more than one character. Okay. Yeah, pop Vasant, right? Yeah, Vasant, it's a correct one. Yeah. So Vasant introduces us to a new one called as pop. So what does this pop do is that if you want to, okay, I'll tell you the difference between the pop and this one. If I run this, you will know. Okay. So what does this do? So pop, what it does is it removes a particular value from the list based upon the index value. So if you don't know the value of it directly, if you do not know the value, and if you want to remove it by a position, then you can use dot pop. Okay. Yeah. Good one. Okay. Any questions, guys? So far, so good? Very good. Okay. I'll just do a quick recap of whatever you've done so far on the list. Append is going to add one value in the end. Okay. Insert is going to add a value anywhere inside the list. Extend is going to add multiple values in the end. So it is effectively, you're not adding multiple values, you're adding a list to the end. Okay. So you need to give it by square brackets. You're going to remove any particular values, you can use remove and the value name. But if you know only the index where the particular index of it, then you need to give the index number and the value will be removed from that. Okay. So that's all we have done. Okay. So far. Okay. And you know that list can contain a mix of numbers and strings, and plus sign is going to be for concatenation and asterisk sign is going to be for repetition, like similar to what happened in strings. Okay, so now let's move on with lists with numbers. Okay, so do we have any lists and numbers? Okay, so let me say, for example, I have list 1 and I'm going to have numbers inside it. Okay, so 23, 54, 2. I'm just going to give numbers. Okay, so I'm going to say it's some digital numbers. Okay, so I have few numbers over there. Okay, now if I have to sort this one, it is very simple. You just have to do list1 dot sort. Okay, so it will start it, and now if I call this, you can see that it is sorted in an ascending order. Okay, so now if I can, and within, okay, if you don't do it in descending order, just give it as descending within the function here. That's it. Okay, DESC. Okay, so now if I have to find the length of it, you can do that. Length works here also, so you don't have to worry about it. It will also work. Okay, so but additionally, it will also tell you the maximum value in the list and the minimum value in the list also. You can do this. So max of a list and a minimum of a list also will work. Okay, so 4335.4 is the maximum value and minimum of the value is the minimum value. Okay. Okay, sounds good. 1 second, let me check that football. You should be able to see the chat. Everyone should be able to see the chat. Let me check the settings if there is any changes. Oh yeah, not others send. Yeah, you cannot see what others send because unfortunately there are few miscreants who have been trying to play spoil sport. Okay, so that's what this setting has been enabled. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm ignoring them and I'm trying to do this. So please stay with me. Okay, so if there's a good question which are coming in, then we are able to take them and I'm going to take it. And if you have any real good question that you want and it's stopping you as a blocker, please put it into the Q&A and not into the chat. Okay, so that we can, I'll take that up after every half an hour and I'll take it to you. Okay, sounds good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes, you can do average. You can do list 1 will try to do all the numerical values if it's going to be having numbers. Okay. Yes, you can do a loop. I'll come to that. That's going to be a good question, Akshat. So you can do loops on list as well. So and that's you can create a function also on the list. Okay, so I'll try to do a simple example on that before we move on to dictionary. Okay, so iterations, I need to first introduce you guys into iterations about if loops and for loops and everything before I can teach you how to do it in the list. Okay, so just give me some time on that. Okay, so I need to teach the class on basic of how to do if loop and for loops conditional iterations. Then I'll do it on list. Okay, so for list you can certainly do that. Okay, so now let's do a one thing that I've seen is that, okay, one good question is that can I sort it you on a list, on string list? Very, very good question. This is what we have. We typically find there's a string list called string list. Okay, and say I have A, B, C, D. I'm just giving some numbers, names. Okay, so okay, so I have a list like this. Okay, so now if I have to, let me write down the code because I'll not be able to think and write and teach you guys in the same time. Okay, so I'll write the code and then tell you the answer. Okay, so okay is equal to, okay, so okay, now can you guys tell me what's happening here? Sorted on the basis of length. Very good. So what does it try to do is it did not put ABCD because it was starting off with the A. It started off on base of length. Now here I had 4-character word, and then I had a 5-character word, and then a 6-character word and 7-character word. But imagine that I'm going to have 2 4-character words. Okay, let's see what happens. You can see that once we have same character length of the words, then it will sort it on based upon ABCD as a first character. Okay, now just see if this is also going to be A. Okay, then if both are A, then it goes to the second character and sees that it is B is ascending than S, then it will change. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. Okay, it follows alphabetical order if the length is same, and then uses the dictionary, normal our dictionary sorting. Okay, fine. Yes, you can pass your functions. Okay, so okay, good question. Let's me try to do it. Okay, like say for example, this is the string list I'm having. Okay, so now let me write down a function. You're not defined of what is a function and all. Okay, so don't be worried if you're not able to understand that. Okay, so I'm just doing a function and then I'm passing some value L. The function, the value -1. Okay, don't worry if you're not able to understand. Okay, sorted. I don't want to do that, so I'll say sorted, and within the sorted I'm going to say the string, which is going to be string list, and then key is equal to function 1. Okay, so I wanted to tell you guys this key can be anything. It can be based upon the length, alphabetical order, descending order, so you can specify whatever it you want, and you can specify the key to be a function also. What is a function? Like say for example, I'll slowly introduce function now, and I'll probably will be talking more about it later. As like in any other language, what is a function used for? Function is used for primarily for doing some repeated business logic question. Okay, like say for example, you put in money into the bank. Okay, you deposit money into the bank. The moment you put in the money into the bank, what happens? The money is going to be added on to your bank account. So bank account last balance plus the money that you deposited into the account, and then bank's ledger will have whatever the money that they're going to have, right? So there you're going to add that particular amount, and they're going to tally it into their respective systems, into different systems also. So once you put money into your bank, your account has to be credited with that money, and then the bank ledger has to be tallied with that money, and all there are different systems that will get added into that, right? So anyone who puts into the money, then this whole function should be done. So if this whole function has to be done for any particular type of a transaction, what we need to do is that instead of writing this bunch of code repetitive number of times every time a particular transaction happens, what we do is that whenever a money is added into the bank, do all this stuff, right? So do all this stuff, we do it define it inside a function. So you create a function and then put all the code inside and keep it. So what happens is whenever money is put into the bank, they will call that function, so that the function will get called, and all the commands or whatever code is written inside the function will get executed, and the final value will come out telling that it is done or not. Just like your ATM, right? So once you've done the transaction, it will finally, you'll see the end result that it has happened, but you will not know what has happened on the backside, right? So to handle all the business questions and to stop your hard coding those different transactions multiple number of times, we use something called as functions. Okay, so here now what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to very simply string object is not callable. Sorted string function one. Okay, sorry. This should take care. Yeah, okay. So now what I'm doing here, you understood this? The string list, I have defined a string list. What I'm defining function is whenever I call this function with some string, okay, so like say for example, I'm passing some string inside it. What I want to do is take that string and return only the last character of that string. Okay, got it? So now what is it being, what is the key here? I'm sorting this whole list based upon what? Based upon the last character of each value. What is the last character of each value? D, S, D, and D, right? So let me change few things so that it will be easy for you to understand. I'm just changing some values here. So now there are no repetitive values. So now if I call this function, it is being sorted by the last character of the words. See here, A, D, E, and S. So what is the, so you can define your own functions and define your business logic. So now whenever you want to sort it, you want to sort it based upon that particular logic. Okay. Exactly. If it is going to be equal, very good question, Vivek. If it is going to be equal, say if I have D and D, then it's going to go into the second character from the back and find out and then sort it, right? Because it's -1, right? So it is going to go from the back. Very good. Okay. So let me check if there's any questions. Exactly. It's like classes and object concept. Very well. Okay, awesome. So now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next one is nothing but dictionary. Okay, so any questions on list we have seen so far? Because you're going to spend the next half an hour. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. So next half an hour, we're going to be doing dictionary. Okay, so then I would want to introduce you to some of the if, for, and break statement so that you guys are comfortable doing that. And once you're done with that, then we'll probably start doing functions and modules in the next class when we come back. Okay, and exception handling, which has to be taught also. Okay, sounds good. So we have quite a few lists that has been pending on us. Okay, so let's get started off with the dictionary without wasting much time. Okay, 72. Very good. I know Okay. So what is happening here is I'm sorting this string list based upon a key. Okay. And I'm defining key as some function. So it's gonna sort this whole strings based upon this function. So this, when I call this function, it's gonna go here. So what does it tries to do is it picks up each of the string. Okay. And what it tries to do is it picks the last character of that string and returns it. So it returns the last character D, S, A, and E. I'm basically sorting based upon the last character of the string which is there in the list. So that is the whole thing. Okay. So if I give 0 here instead of -1, it is going to do the same thing as what we have done as ascending, right? So if you're going to do this as 0, it will do it on the first character, right? If you want to give it as 1, then it will sort it on based upon the second character of each one of the one. Okay, so this is a generic one that you can change it for any of the strings sorting. Okay, you can change it on your own. Obviously, you need to declare your function before you're using a function. You need to create a function and declare it, and then you can use the function. So that is rule is going to be the common. Yeah, you can use -2. If you do -2, it's going to do it C, S, S, and S, right? So it's going to be doing that. Okay, so this can be done for whatever business logic you want. Okay, so this is a simple function that you can use for doing any kind of sorting. Okay, sounds good. So you can play around with this. Okay, so okay, so let me go ahead with dictionaries. Okay, so one of the most important built-in data structure that you have in Python is going to be dictionary. Okay, so you will indirectly work with dictionary a lot. Okay, so though you will not work on it them directly, but indirectly you will work with dictionary a lot. Okay, so I'm not sure if you are introduced to hash tables, but Python's dictionaries are a kind of hash tables. Okay, so they work like associative arrays and consist of what you call as key value pairs. So what is this key value pairs? How does your English dictionary look like? English dictionary has a word and its associated meanings, right? So similar to that, what you will have is that in dictionary you will have one key, nothing but the word, and its associated values. Okay, so value can be 1, 2, 3. There can be more than one value for every key. Okay, so that will be key value pairs which will be created for dictionary. Okay, so a dictionary key can almost be of any Python type. Okay, so key can be key, which is nothing but the word, initial word, can be of any type, and typically it's going to be a number or strings. We'll see that examples. Okay, values on the other hand can be of any Python type, not necessarily numbers or strings. You can put any values over there. Okay, unlike the list, dictionaries are not going to be between square brackets. It's going to be between curly braces. Okay, so curly braces like this. Okay, you'll be defining it within curly braces, but the values can be assigned and accessed like how you do in list using square brackets. Okay, so let me try to do with the help of an example. Okay, so that's going to help you. So if I want to create an empty dictionary, this is an empty dictionary. Okay, so if I say dict, see, this is an empty dictionary. Okay, now if I have to add value into the dictionary, okay, so I told you if you want to add value and access value into it, you can use square brackets. Okay, so say for example, I'm creating a key value 1. So key is going to be key 1. Okay, so I'm going to create a key 1 within the quotes because it's a string. And what is the first one? Let's say, for example, this is value 1. Okay, so now say dict instead of key 2, I'm just going to key 2. So you can keep it as anything that you want. Okay, and this is value 2. Okay, got it? So like, okay, you can keep it as number as well. So it can be anything. Key can be number or variable, and values can also be number or variables. Okay, so this is declared. I want to see what is there in my dictionary. You see how it is coming. So what it does is it creates key value pairs, key value, key value. It stores like this. Okay, so It's not like large lists. It is actually what I would say is a different version of how you store data. So like say, if you want to, it's a stepping stone for us to move into towards what we call as data frames. Okay, so what is data frame? What is it's a structure of rows and columns, right? So just imagine this key and values like this. Key is going to be the column name, and values are nothing but the values inside that particular column. Are you able to picturize that? So we have not gone to an extent of accessing using rows and columns yet. Okay, that is being done by another data structure called as data frames in pandas. We will get to that. But before we get to that, dictionary was a good stepping stone towards it. Okay, so what is a dictionary? Just imagine that keys are nothing but column headers and values are all values inside it. Okay, so in that particular column. Okay, so now you can create a dictionary instead of creating an empty dictionary and then adding values. Okay, you can create a dictionary at one go. Okay, so like say for example, I'm going to create a dictionary Yaasheen. Okay, so I want to create it. So specify this and say specify name. Okay, so it's the name is a string, so I'm going to say name within quotes. I'm going to say JAIN University. Okay, and then comma. I'm going to say class name is going to be Python. Okay, and say for example, I want to say department or something, computer science. Okay, so if you run it, valid syntax. Okay, you should be able to tell me what is this mistake I've done. Can someone tell me what is the mistake I've done? Curly, very good. So I need to give the whole thing inside the curly braces. So this should take care of the values. Okay, so I'm going to call that. You can create it at one go. Okay, so now can someone tell me this is actually mimicking a good rows and columns in a spreadsheet or an Excel, Microsoft Excel, right? So, but what is the drawback of this? It is mutable. It is mutable. We can change values. You can change this JAIN University to another value. You can change that. It is slower. Yeah, it is a kind of slower than data frames. Yeah, but there is a lot of hard coding involved. Yeah, correct. And all the most important thing you need to understand is when you're adding values in real life, you will call a particular value based upon row number and column number, isn't it? Right? So row 7, column 5, what is the value? Like that only you'll do it, right? Like say, for example, you have name stored as one of the column, class is one of the column, department is one of the column. You find that student ID 104, what is that value for name, class, and department? That's what you want to find out, right? So a row number and then what are the values in a column. You can't do that in dictionary, right? So it tries to access it only from the column side of it, not from the row side of it. Though you can create rows like this, you cannot access directly from the row side of it. That's a major problem in dictionaries. That's why it gave way to data frames. Okay, though dictionary has its own positives. Okay, so let's try to quickly print the values. Okay, so this is the dictionary. So Yaasheen is the dictionary. So if I have to print the first value of the first one, okay, so like say if I know the name of the key, it will print the name of the key. Okay, so if I don't know this, then if I have to do is if I print, okay, you can do, okay, you want me to print all the keys. Okay, so what you're going to do is someone is asking me, how do I print all the keys? If I don't know what are the keys, you can print dot keys. Okay, and if I have to print all the values, you can print all the values also. Okay, so this will print all the values. Okay, that can be done. Okay, Sounds good. Okay, so any questions, guys? This is simple, right? So now let's do a bit of operations, right? So let's do some kind of logical operations before we move on to loops. Okay, so logical operators. So what is this logical operators? So let's say, for example, I have A is equal to 7, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to 45 or something. Okay, so I have this. Now, if I have to check if a particular value is, if A is equal to 4, if I put equal to, it will assign that value. If I have to check, then I need to put double equal to. So it will check if A is equal to 4, and if it is not equal to 4, it will say false. If it is equal to 7, it will return true. Okay, so you can use a combination. Yes, you can use a combination. If I want to find out B is equal to 4, okay, if A is equal to 7 and B is equal to 4, then again it will say true. If one of them even fails, then it will show false. Or if you want to find out or, you can use or also, and you can use it. So you will use this one a lot in your code. Okay. Okay. Yes, logical operators. Okay, sounds good. So, and no, okay. So yeah, one of them is asking that how do I do if I do not want to equal it to a particular value? Okay, so you can do this. You just have to put not in front, and you're going to put like this. Okay, so if you put like this, it will say this will turn out to be true only if this is not, A is not equal to 7 or B is not equal to, this will become true. See here, it will check for A is equal to 7. Yes. Okay, so if it is not, then or B is equal to 3, right? So then even if one of them becomes true, then this is going to be, this will first check this value. Okay, what is the A is equal to 7 or B is equal to 3? If is it true or false? A is equal to 7 or B is equal to 3? A is equal to 7, right? So this will become true. Not of true will become false. So that's how it works. Okay, not equal to, yes, you can use directly is not equal to also, or you can use not of this also. Okay, this also works. Okay, this is the reverse of it. Or if you want directly find out if a particular value is not equal to, you can do that. So not equal to 3. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, so then fine. So now this is simple. Let's move on to something that I wanted to do today. Okay, so let me just get back to this code so that you guys can use it for reference. Okay, if statement. You guys would have done it in your C programming or any Java programming or any of the programming. Okay, so what is the logic for if statement? Why is it used? To test the condition. Very good. So let me just share my whiteboard. Okay. Okay. So what I want you to do is, if some, like say for example, if this condition, okay, is true, okay, then execute this code. Okay, else execute this code. This is going to be the syntax for if statement. Okay, so you're going to replace the condition here with anything that you want. Okay, and then if you want to replace it by whatever code you want to put the code here. But remember the indentation here. Okay, so if you're going to use an if statement, instead of using a parenthesis like how you use it in other languages, you don't need to use a parenthesis. If you use parenthesis, it will consider as dictionary. Okay, so if some condition is true, then execute this code. else execute this code. Okay, so that's how it is going to be done. Okay, so next question that one person is asking is that if I have multiple condition check, don't use else. You need to use something called as elif. Okay, so it's a short form for else if. Else if execute this code. Else if, then you need to put another condition. If this condition is true, execute this code. Then last, finally, you're going to put else execute this code. Okay, that's how the structure is going to be. Okay, now let's do this with an example. Okay. Yes, you can use multiple conditions also in the same loop. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, so like how I gave you in logical operator checking, right? So that's why I wanted you to do that before we move on to the logical operator. Okay, so now just let's do a business scenario. Okay, so if a person is getting, if a person's salary is 5,000. Okay, okay. Now the whole business logic I have is if the person's salary is greater than 5,000. Okay, then new salary is going to be 5,000 into say 10%. Okay, 10% is the hike he's getting. Okay, if salary is lesser than 5,000, then new salary is equal to 5,000 into 15%. Okay, if salary is greater than 10,000, then new salary is equal to sorry, it's not 5,000. Salary into this one, salary into say 5%. Okay, this is what the promotion structure or hike structure is, what your company is going to give. Okay, so now you're told that this is going to be the person. Okay, so now say for example you need to write the code for it. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's write the code for it. Okay, what am I going to do? If salary, okay, is greater than 5,000, what's going to happen? Tell me. If I first put if salary is greater than 5,000, then new salary is going to be like this. Okay, then I'm going to put elif. I'm not writing the code yet. Okay, so I'm just putting the salary lesser than 5,000, new salary is equal to into 15. Finally, else. Okay, is this logically correct? I'm not even going to the code part of it. Is this logically correct, or is I'm having a problem here? Yes, yeah, I'm not got into the code part. Okay, so incorrect. Why? This if I miss these three, then it will become 10,000, right? So I don't have to declare a salary. I'll call this one once I have the salary, then I'll call it. Okay, so don't worry. Looks good. Okay, okay. So let's try to take an example. Okay, so now, like say for example, if salary, I'm getting the salary. Okay, typically I'll get it from as an input. Okay, so if I want to take an input from someone, then you need to put it inside this. Okay, input salary. Okay, so did I touch input? Did I call? No, I'm not even running the code. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to get the input from the salary. So just imagine that my salary is 6,500. Okay, it's fine. Sounds good. Okay. Now it comes here, it says salary is greater than 6,599. And obviously I'm going to print the salary, right? So I'm going to print the salary. I'm going to calculate this and I want to print it. Okay. So what it does is that it says 6,599. This becomes true and I'm going to give 10% rise. It will print that salary. It works fine. Okay. Now if my salary is 4,599, this will fail. It's not greater than, so it will go here and this will execute and it will work fine. Correct. But just imagine this. If my salary is going to be 14,599, ideally I want this one to get executed, isn't it? Right? But what will happen here? My salary will be greater than 5,000. It is true, right? My salary is greater than 5,000. So this will get executed and it will print this salary and it will come out. So my logic is wrong, right? So every time you have multiple else loop, you need to check. Always start off with the biggest one. Okay. So start off with 10,000 that you have. If salary is greater than 10,000, give him a 5% hike, right? So 5% into. So if salary is greater than 1,000, new salary is equal to salary into 0.5%, 0.05 into salary, right? Salary plus this is the old salary and this is 0.5% is the hike he's going to get, right? So I'm writing the actual code now. So now if it is going to be 14,000, then this will execute it. Okay, so now let me go to the next case. Okay, so 7,599. This will fail. So now it will come and check, is the salary at least greater than 5,000? Okay, yes, then salary is going to be 10%. Okay, in the salary. Then otherwise, if both the things are failing, then obviously the salary is going to be less than 5,000, right? So I am going to get a 15% increase in my salary. Okay, so this should work. Let's see if this works. So his salary was 7,599 and he's getting a new salary of 10% increase. Okay, are you guys able to understand? Okay, any questions, guys? Please let me know. So whenever you have multiple if loops, always start off with the highest one and then leave the default one to the lowest one. Okay, so that will be easy for you, so that you will not make any mistakes. Okay. Yes, colon is used as a syntax. It says if a particular condition, then try to replace this colon as a then. Okay, so then execute these codes. Else if this condition is true, then execute this code. Else for whatever value is there, execute this code. Okay, so that's how you are going to use it. Okay. Yes. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Now that we have done if loop, I'll slowly introduce into a if loop inside a list also. Like say, for example, I have a list with names. Okay. Like say Ajay Devgan. Okay. Salman Khan. Tell whatever name you want. Okay. Mahesh Babu. Whatever name you want. Okay. Any other hero you want? Tell me. Hrithik Roshan. Okay, we have a fan of Hrithik here. Okay, so Hrithik. Oops. Hrithik Roshan. Okay, so I've created a list with different names. Now, like say for example, if I have to navigate through this list and If a person's name is found, then I need to say, I have found this particular name. Okay. So how do I do this? So if, okay, like say, for example, what's the name? What's the name? Federer. Okay. Sounds good. I'll put that. If Roger, okay, in list, if Roger is there inside the list, then print I found Roger. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Otherwise, it will not print. Okay. So now, then I need to use else, right? Else print Roger is lost. Got it? So you can use it in the list also. The only syntax that you need to change is if a condition will happen for numericals. If you are using it a list, then you're going to say if a variable in a list. Then it will say, it will check for this, this, and then it will execute. Okay. I'm not coming to for. Okay. So don't worry. Okay. So I'll come to the for. Okay. Okay. So I'll get to the for loops using list next time around. So before I move on to that, I will introduce you to the while statement and then leave for the day. Okay. So I need to rush for the appointment. So what is while statement? Okay. So what is this while statement? So this, you see that if a particular condition happens, then this happens. Otherwise, the other one happens. Otherwise, the other one happens, right? While statement allows you to repeatedly execute a block as long as the condition is true. Okay, I'm repeating again. While statement allows you to do this again and again and again till a particular condition is true. Okay, it's the first example of a looping statement that I've given you. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I'm creating a counter. Okay, say this is just a counter. I'm just initializing it as counter is equal to 0. While counter is lesser than, say, 9. Okay, print, okay, the counter value is, okay, and then I'm printing the counter value. Okay, and then I'm going to do counter is equal to counter plus 1. Okay, then finally I'm going to come out and say end of the counter loop. Okay, so I'll tell you quickly what's happening. So I'm just initializing counter is equal to 0. Basically, I'm just putting a variable as 0. It goes into the loop. First, it will check if it is 0. Yeah, 0 is lesser than 9. This one condition is true, isn't it? So as long as this condition is true, it will keep executing these values. So 0 is lesser than 9, it is true. So it will print the counter value is 0, right? Then it comes, it says counter new values become counter plus 1. So 0 plus 1, it will become 1. So counter is going to become 1. Then again, it's going to go here. 1 is lesser than 9. So it will print counter value is 1. Then it will become 2. 2 is lesser than 9. It will continue doing it. So till 8 is lesser than 9, the counter value is 8 will get printed. Once the counter value becomes 9, it goes here and says 9 is lesser than 9. No, it will not happen. So my expectation is the counter value will go from 0 and print till 8 and then come out and print end of counter loop. Let's see if it happens. Okay. It's exactly what happened. So counter value is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it came out and printed this. Remember this, this is not with the same indentation. So this is not inside here. So it has come out and printed this, right? It's come out of the loop and it has printed this. So any questions, guys, on this? For and while, I'll come to that. I'll teach you for, and then I'll teach you when you need to use for and when you need to use while. Okay, sounds good. I'll save this file for today. I'll just rename it as session 2, and I'll download the file for you. I'll send it as an IPNB notebook so that you guys can take it from there directly and run it in your system. Send it to all panelists and attendees. I'm going to send the file from my computer, from my desktop downloads. I've sent the IPNB notebook, and I'll also send it as a Python file, as a HTML file. So people who don't have a Jupyter can read that file. Okay. Okay. So I have sent the IPNB notebook as well, and I've sent the guys. I've sent it across. It's sent to all in the chat itself. All panelists and attendees. It is went to all panelists and attendees over there. Just open it as an HTML page. That will be easy for you to look into it. Did not get it. Okay, so I sent it to the all panelists and attendees. I'm actually surprised. Some of you guys are saying yes. Some of you guys are not saying no. I don't know. I don't know if people who are logged in phones, they're not getting it. I don't know what's difference, but certainly people, some of them are sent that they have received the file. Okay, fine. So let's do one thing. I'll send both the HTML file and the IPNB file to Jatinder right away, and I'll ask him to send it across to all the registered participants. Okay, so that none of you guys get missed on that. Okay, so I'll send it to you. Send it to him right away, and Jatinder, I'll ask Jatinder to send it across to all of you guys. Okay, I'll do that. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, guys, I think I need to run for the appointment, so I'm running late. So thanks a lot for being a wonderful audience. Okay, so I really like the questions that you guys brought in to the class. I appreciate it. And what I'll do is that when I send the questions to Jatinder, I'll also send a few exercises, 2-3 exercises that you can do based upon strings, lists, and dictionaries that we have done. So when we meet next class, we will probably quickly sync up on the exercises and the answers, and we'll take it from there. Okay. So please make sure that you come on time for the next class, because we are going to be doing a bit of our conditional operators and loops and functions and modules, and we'll lay down the basic framework for pandas next time. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll send across the file to Jatinder, and he should be able to send it across to you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.